Hello and welcome to this vlog where I break all of my rules. And the first rule that I'm breaking is that I've only been awake for maybe 30 minutes. I just ate my Cliff Bar for breakfast. I have not prepared for this, so I'm unplanned, unprepared, but I'm not unwell because we're going to do this thing and see how it goes. So welcome to Wreck This Reading Vlog. You can come up. We're not gonna play right now. Come here. Oh, goodness. Say hi, fans. Hello, everyone. If you're new here, my name is Keisha, and thank you so much for stopping by. This is Jovi, and whenever I sit on the floor, she loves to play. So we're doing a great job of wrecking it so far. So for those of you who may be wondering what I'm doing here, first of all, it's been forever since I have recorded a vlog, so I felt vloggy today, and it is actually a snow day. Let me show you. This is actually, what is today? Tuesday? Today's Tuesday. Yesterday was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and I had off work for that, but we also got a snow day today, and I'm kind of hoping that we'll get more because down in the South, we do not get a lot of snow, and when we do get snow, we don't know how to handle it, so we get off work, and I like that. So I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed of being a Southerner who, gets to stay home when there's a lot of snow or ice. So I'm home today, and I had this idea. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of those books or journals, and it's called Wreck This Journal. Well, I had the idea, like, what if I just do a vlog where I break all of my rules? Because it's so easy for me to sit in front of a camera and be like, okay, I have to do this right, and I have to do this, and I have to do this way, and it's just so easy to do a vlog that way. And I was like, what if I just completely wrecked it? What if I just did things completely opposite of how I would prefer to do them? And maybe not fully, but at least enough to get myself outside of my comfort zone. So that's why this is going to be my Wreck This Reading vlog. And I really don't know what all I'm going to get into today, but I do have some reading to do. I am going to reorganize my shelves, which we'll talk about that a little bit later. That's going to be a big feat for me. And then the first thing I really want to do though is just chat about my relationship with God and Bible reading and Bible study and all that stuff, because I had mentioned previously before on this channel that I was going to start shifting some of my content to be more faith content, and I don't really feel like you guys have seen that follow through yet. So I want to first and foremost address that. So some of you may remember that I got a new Bible and I set up these new tabs, and I had started on this journey of doing Bible study. And so I'm doing a little bit of Bible journaling, note-taking, all that fun stuff. If I can get this to focus. It's always so hard to get my camera to focus where I want it to, but that is what I've been working on. And lately, and by lately I mean since 2024 started, I have not been in my Bible as much as I would like to be, and I want to be really transparent about that. So I think it's so easy for me to feel like I've been a Christian for 15 years. I am heading up a Christian book club. I have been in ministry on and off for the last 15 years, and I feel like I should have it all together by now, right? That would make sense if I did. But unfortunately, that is not how life works, and we don't have it all together. And as much as I would love to say that I've been doing daily Bible reading and that I have a plan and I have structure, I don't. I really don't. I'm someone who has really bright, sunny seasons of joy, but I'm also somebody who struggles with seasonal depression. And sometimes with that comes things, and with normal, is mental health normal? I don't know. Mental health issues normal? Probably not. But I know that they're very common, and with that comes things like needing more structure and needing more discipline for some people, and I'm one of those people. So while I find myself to be a very organized person, I find that if I don't have structure in community, structure in some type of a schedule that I'm gonna put into action, I just don't do very well with that. And I have spent so much of my life, including recently, beating myself up over the fact that I am not where I would like to be. And I think that's very relatable, which is why I want to share it, because I know I have to remind myself sometimes, and I hope this reminds you, that you are not alone if you wrestle with your faith, if you can't find a groove in it, and if you sometimes just struggle. I mean, God never promised us that this life was going to be easy. He did promise us that it was going to be worth it. And I do think that living a Christian life makes my life so much better and makes me see so much more joy and live a more fulfilling life. And then, of course, in the end, I know where I'm going and I know that I'm going to be happy on the other side. And so knowing all that, choose this life because this is the life that God has chosen for me. This is the life that He blessed me with and gave me. And I want my life to be relationship with Him, but it doesn't always look like that for me. I struggle sometimes with, I want my heart to be in the right place. I don't know if any of the rest of you get like this sometimes, but sometimes I focus too much on, having to have everything in order and right before I bring myself to the Lord. And He doesn't want us that way. He will take us in our mess. But sometimes I find myself saying that I want my heart to be positioned right before I go into Bible study, before I go into prayer. And if I don't feel it, I feel like I'm disingenuine, which is not true. Our feelings are honestly all over the place. Our feelings, while they can be valid, they can't always be trusted, because sometimes we feel things that aren't true and we can't base truth on a feeling. So sometimes I'm like, well, I don't feel like I'm being genuine today. I don't feel like my heart's in it. So I don't want to talk to God today. Or maybe I'll feel like, well, I saw or heard about so-and-so doing Bible study or talking about Jesus, and that made me want to, but I don't want to because I don't want to just do it because somebody else is doing it. Or maybe I am, I don't know, just doing some kind of like comparison game in my head, or I'm feeling guilty because I haven't spent all this time with the Lord, and now I'm going back feeling like, ugh. And that's not from the Lord. Guilt is not from the Lord. There is such a huge difference between guilt and conviction, and I would encourage you all, as well as myself, to study up more on that, because I feel like I sit in guilt so much more than I should. And I give myself excuses to not, spend time with the one who says, I love you no matter what. I love you and I'm here with you no matter what. I'm here because I love you regardless. I love you unconditionally. I know that you're going to fail. I know that you are trying your hardest, and you don't have to try so hard. I'm here. I'm enough for you. I'm your strength and your weakness. So just come and sit with me and give it all over to me. And I have such a hard time doing that. I have such a hard time putting my faith into action. And I just wanted to be transparent with you guys about that, because I did start a bullet journal this year. And one of the things I wanted to have it track was Bible study. So Bible study being different than Bible reading, in that I didn't want to just mark it every time I read my Bible, but when I actually sat down into Bible study. And it is 15 or 16 days into the new year, and I have not had Bible study this year. I actually have barely cracked open my Bible. So I wanted to be transparent and tell you all that it's okay. Like, I don't want to give an excuse for myself or for anybody else to just continue to not, but sometimes we need more discipline and to, take actionable steps. Sometimes we can be really organized and have well intentions, but we just have to realize that we can come to the feet of Jesus just as we are. And sometimes we're not going to feel like it's all good and fluffy, and sometimes we are, and it's okay to come either way. So I wanted to start this vlog by being transparent with you all and telling you all some of my struggles. I also think that it's come to my attention, brought up by a friend of mine, that Jesus is kind of trending right now. And so that has made me all the more say, well, maybe I don't want to shift my content right now because it's just going to look like I'm following a trend. But I want to say that I feel like out of all of this, while Jesus may be trending, and I think that's such a wonderful thing, I know that there can be, wolves in sheep's clothing out there. I know there can be people that are just doing it to follow a trend, but I think there's a lot of hope in that. I think there's a lot of joy in that, and knowing that Jesus is trending means that more people are going to hear about God. More people are going to experience the joy and peace and the salvation of the Lord. And so I think that's great. And so, opposed to me just being like, okay, maybe I don't want to talk about this more, I do feel like that's just the enemy trying to convince me not to, when I know that that's not what matters. I'm here and I get to choose being genuine with you guys, and that's what I want to do. So my genuineness right now is to tell you that I am struggling and that I'm not perfect, and I don't feel like any person, whether you are a leader or a follower, is. I think that everybody has their struggles in this life, but It's all going to be worth it in the end, and the Lord is with you through every step of the way. Don't be discouraged. Don't let guilt and shame just bury you. And if it does bury you, know that you're planted and that the Lord is going to bring you up. And I just encourage you all to reach out to Him and to cry out to Him, to give all of your guilt, shame, worries, anxieties, anything over to Him. I have gone through a little bit of a difficult season with my dad being in the hospital recently, fighting for his life. He is in rehab now and will be coming home in the next few days. So I'm very, very blessed and thankful to still have my dad here with me, and that God saw fit to allow him to continue on with this life. He is not done with him yet. He has a plan for him. My dad has like literally been witnessing to people in the rehab facility that he is in, and I just think that is the best thing in the world, and I'm just so excited that he has more to give in this life. So while all of that has also hit, I think there's just been a lot of rockiness coming into the new year, but we're going to fix that. So introduction to Wreck This Vlog is that we are going to start this vlog how I should start my everyday and how I want to start more vlogs on here anyways, should I do any more. Because as I told you guys at the beginning of the year, you never know what you're going to get from me. But we're going to start with what I want to start my day with, and that is Bible study. So while I'm not going to dive deep into Bible study, I am going to go in and mark up a couple things. I was finishing up the Sermon on the Mount study at the end of last year. I do want to go in and mark a couple more things in that, but then I think I want to start somewhere new. I wanted to read through all the Gospels, but I feel like I need something fresh. I feel like I just need to sit down, open my Bible, and read. I do think there is a good thing in like having structure in your reading, but I think for right now, for me, what I need is just to sit with the Lord. So I'm going to do that. I don't know what I'm going to read, but I'll let you guys know when I finish and what I read about. So we're going to start our day with Jesus, and then I'll figure out where we're going to go from there.
Who am I that the maker of heaven would love me and know me by name? In a world where I feel like a stranger, His love came and found me the same. In each breath that I breathe, when I wake or I sleep, everything I need is found in You. All in You, everything I need is found in You, found in You, Jesus.
Okay, I marked a couple of things in my Bible that I needed to mark in the Sermon on the Mount, and then my stomach started hurting. And I don't know if this ever happens to you guys, but sometimes like when you try to be intentional with your time with God, sometimes things happen. It can be random things. It can be like somebody shows up at your house, you get a phone call, you get a stomach ache. Or sometimes, and the most common for me is that I get sleepy. So it's funny because like I could be on my phone and not get sleepy at all, but the second I try to read my Bible, I do. And I just think like, oh, you know, because obviously it's a tactic of the enemy to try to get me to not do what I'm doing. But stomachache is still fluctuating, but I pressed forward, and I ended up, because, you know, I had to take a break for a minute, and I got on Facebook, and somebody had shared a scripture. Like the first thing that popped up on my Facebook is somebody shared not what it said, but just the scripture. And I was like, okay, we're just going to run with that. So it was Ephesians 2, verses 1 through 10. So I'm just going to read that to you all. And this is coming from the New International Version of the Bible. As for you, you were dead in your transgressions and sins, in which you used to live when you followed the ways of this world and of the ruler of the kingdom of the air, the spirit who is now at work in those who are disobedient. All of us also lived among them at one time, gratifying the cravings of our flesh and following its desires and thoughts. Like the rest, we were by nature deserving of wrath. But because of His great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ, even when we were dead in transgressions. It is by grace you have been saved. And God raised us up with Christ and seated us with him in the heavenly realms in Christ Jesus, in order that in the coming age he might show the incomparable riches of his grace, expressed in his kindness to us in Christ Jesus. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not from yourselves, it is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. So I try to think like, okay, what can I take from this? This is a pretty standard scripture that I've heard like a lot preached and a lot throughout my faith journey. And I'm always drawn to verse 8 where it says, for it is by grace you have been saved through faith. This not from yourselves, it is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. And I think that's really important in your faith journey sometimes to remember that, you know, while faith enables works, and while you know, after we receive salvation we still, you know, do good works, it is not for salvation that we do these things, because there's nothing in and of ourselves that we can do to earn salvation, because we have a sin nature. We were born with a sin nature. And while I do believe that when you're redeemed, you are broken free from that sin nature, sometimes our habits are to go back to something that we knew for so long before. And so I think that, you know, while we can never be enough, and remembering that we can never be enough, you can't work for your salvation. We are saved by grace through faith. That is so important and so key to just remember, like, good works it's like good fruits. It is a product of your salvation. And I think what caught me here was, for it is by grace you have been saved through faith. The word faith got me, because I know sometimes in the Christian walk we wrestle with our faith. And I think that there is a healthy amount of wrestling, because sometimes when you question or doubt and you take that to the Lord, he enables you to kind of work through that. And it's like working out your salvation or working out your faith. So I wanted to pick up some of my resources that I have just to read a little bit more on that section and on that verse. So I picked up What the Bible is All About, Bible Handbook, NIV edition by Dr. Henrietta C. Mears. I think there are a couple different editions of this one. I'm not sure what edition this is. I think there's older versions is what I mean by that. But in here, talking about Ephesians chapter 2, at the very end, it says, salvation is the gift of God, for it is by grace you've been saved through faith, and this not from yourselves, it is the gift of God. Faith is a gift too. Faith comes from hearing the message, Romans 10:17. Faith is the channel of salvation. It is the hand that receives the gift. It connects us with God. So that drew me to Romans 10:17, that whole idea that faith comes from hearing the message. And I thought about that for a little bit, and I thought, you know, I struggle with my faith sometimes, and maybe like I'm fully like, this is all coming from my head, and, you know, hopefully from the Lord too in my study on this. But I was like, let me look at this scripture, and I'm going to go into like more detail, because I don't want to take anything out of context. But for me in this moment, what it meant was like, I've been saved through faith, and faith comes from hearing the word. And so I go into my NIV Bible Knowledge Commentary for the New Testament, which is by John F. Walvoord and Roy B. Zuck. I really like this one. I found it very insightful in what I've read so far in it. So I read a little bit up on Romans 10. And so let me go ahead and go to, do I have Romans? Yeah, 10, what did I say, 10:17? So Romans 10:17, and I read a few of the verses before then, and basically this is talking about, there's like a question with, you know, how can people believe the message if they haven't heard it? And so in my book, it's talking about that, let's see, Paul has made it clear that God's gracious offer of righteousness by faith was given to all, Jews and Gentiles alike. His focus in this chapter, however, has been on the people of Israel and their response to that offer. Therefore, when he wrote, but not all Israelites accepted the good news, he obviously had in mind the Jews' failure to respond. This is borne out by Paul's confirming quotation of Isaiah 53:1. Lord, who has believed our message? This failure of the Jews to respond to the good news was true in Jesus' day on earth, and in Paul's day as well. However, the indefinite all of the Greek text is appropriate because the response to the gospel among the Gentiles was also far less than total. Paul explained, consequently, faith comes from hearing the message, and the message is heard through the word of Christ, which that's verse 17. And then it says, and the hearing is through the saying concerning Christ. So that's another way to look at, is heard through the word of Christ. The Greek word, which is echoe, maybe, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but it means hearing, can mean the thing heard, the message, or the act or sense of hearing. Someone, however, might insist that the Jews were not given adequate opportunity to hear the message. So Paul said, but I ask, did they not hear? He then quoted Psalm 19:4 concerning God's general revelation in the cosmic heavens. However, the psalm also discusses God's special revelation in the Old Testament. Paul's obvious answer to his question is that Israel had ample opportunity by both general and special revelation to respond to God. Certainly she had heard. So it just made me think, like, from one sense, I was reading that as faith comes by hearing the word. And I thought, like, that means that I need to be in the word. That means that I need to listen, like, to sermons or something like that. That's like my initial response. But then I thought more about it, and I read this, and I'm like, you know, not everybody has the opportunity to physically hear the word, but God has given a revelation to all of us. And I thought, you know, this is more than that. This is more than just, like, obviously I need to be in my word, and I need to be, you know, holding myself accountable to hear the message and the good news of the Lord. But we have been given this revelation. And so I feel like just tuning your ears, you know how people have like selective hearing, or we say people have selective hearing where somebody says something to them and then they just like don't hear it, or they just have their ears tuned to a different station, if you will. I think sometimes just making sure that our ears are tuned to the Lord, and whether we're reading our Bible or we're in a church service, we're listening to a sermon, or whether we're just going about our day-to-day life at work or at school or wherever we may be, tuning our ears to the Lord and hearing the message of Christ in everything that we do. So I feel like that's kind of what I pulled from today, and that faith comes from that. Faith comes from that listening and that gleaning from the Lord. And so I just thought that was a pretty good message for today. And sometimes it's like a big mind-blowing message that I get, and sometimes it's like a good message, and sometimes I don't get anything. And that's okay, because I'm human. And sometimes it's just that. And I think that's just part of having, you know, faith and consistency, and knowing that there is still something good there, and that this is building discipline in me to build my relationship with the Lord, because I know that He has good things for me. So that is all I'm going to do for Bible study today. I'm still a little bit struggling with a stomach ache, so I'm going to try to take care of that issue and then come back around, and I will let you guys know what we're going to get up to next in my Wrecking This vlog. Okay, the next thing I want to do is tackle my bookshelves. So there's a couple things on top right now that I need to clear off, but I want to go ahead and tell you how I've had my bookshelves organized and how we're going to wreck it. Okay, so this is all books that I've read, okay? And it's, for the most part, since I've had this shelf or these bookshelves, been the books that I've read. On the very top there are my favorite books, like some of my favorite books of all time. Then I have middle grade books, and then I have like adult books, some cozy mysteries, and then down here I have some like middle grade graphic novels, and then I have some like young adult graphic novels, and then young adult books. So that's that. Then over here, I have like, hold on, let me turn you guys around. Okay, so this kind of stays to some extent disorganized at the top, but I have some Christian nonfiction and Christian fiction books down here. And then these books, as well as like some of these books right here, are books that are my 24 books for 2024. Not 24 books. I don't have 24 books. They're 12 books. So some of them are 12. They're 12 books by 12 friends. So some of these are that, but then some of these are just like wintry books or books I want to read soon. And then I put my graphic novels that I haven't read yet over here. And then a couple of these are like the 12 books from 12 friends. And then, yeah, so it's just a little bit disorganized. And then also, this is like my current TBR / books that I need to read soon. And then on the back, which I have my book sleeves, bookmarks, all that stuff. But on the back down here, I have another book, and then there's like some coloring books, and these are my markers for that. So that's what I have on my TBR cart. And then these shelves, my book tree, these are some romances. And then I have Cozy Mysteries, Cozy Mysteries, Cozy Mysteries, Cozy Mysteries. And then I have a Cozy Mystery up there that wouldn't fit where I wanted it, because I have these kind of organized where these are like bookish ones, these are like foodie, some foodie ones and some not. And then these are like just random, and these are like paranormally. So yeah, I have them kind of organized and kind of not. And then I have some random books here, and then I have some random books. Well, these are not really random. They're Sally Hepworth books and some like other random books. Then I have like mystery thrillers and mystery thrillers, some horror. So that is that. Then if I go into this other room, I have these shelves. And so those are like my Christian nonfiction. Up here, for the most part of here, this is like books that I have read. Actually, I think all of them at this point are books I've read at some point in time. So books that I've read that are just like not ones I wanted in the other room. And then I have like, these are mostly fantasy books that I need to read. And then these are like classics, historical fiction, romance, thriller, all that. And then down here, we've got my middle grade shelf that I like need to read, so like TBR, except Percy Jackson and Chronicles of Narnia I've already read. Sorry, this is like not great with the cinematic effect thing on video here. I probably should just do regular video because it's focusing weird. But the very bottom down here is just random books that I had from college, some like C.S. Lewis books that are like really old, and then some Bibles and stuff down towards, well, hold on. And then over there, they're like oversized, some oversized like books. So that's kind of how things are organized right now. And this is how we're going to wreck it, okay? I like the way things are organized right now, but I want to switch it up. I want to see what it's like to get outside of my comfort zone to organize a little different. I still don't really know how different I want to organize things, so we shall see. But I feel like sometimes one thought that I've had is that sometimes the books that I want to read, not that I still have a lot of want to reads in that room, but some of these want to read books, like they just don't get enough attention. So I don't know, I may move some of those around, but we're just going to reorganize my shelves. They're not going to be exactly the same. So we're going to wreck my shelves. Come along with me. Do, which I may change my mind like 20 times. I think on this, like at the very, very top where I had my favorite books of all time, which I don't even know if they're all still that, I think I'm going to put like either my 12 books by 12 friends or those plus like my like really most anticipated books. I don't know. And then I think I'm going to make this top shelf right here like alphabetized, just all of my favorite books that I would recommend to people. So we're going to mix in like different age groups and all that stuff, even though I like having that separated and I like having genres separated. We're going to just mix it all in and see what I think. Then I don't know about these two shelves yet, but that's what we're working on sorting right now. So we'll see how all this goes. I'm really not sure. I've already decided I'm going to unhaul a couple of books too, so I'll share those with you at the end. And then I also had another idea where I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to rehaul some books that I've unhauled that are still in there. So we're going to do that too, but let's just go ahead and get back into this and we'll see where this ends up going. I doing? What am I doing? Okay, it's fine. I'm gonna figure it out. Wrecking my bookshelves. Or am I wrecking my brain and my sanity? Maybe a little bit. I can't make my mind up. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're going to figure it out. It's fine. Cheer me on in the background, even though this is already over by the time you're watching it. Okay, I don't think that I can live with this. So I started just like alphabetizing. This is like all of my favorites, and I'm probably gonna add some more in there, but I started alphabetizing, and I have, you know, mixes of all genres, all heights of books and all that. And I don't think I can do it. Because the height of, like, I don't think you guys can really see, but the height of the cozy mysteries next to the height of the graphic novels, and then just like I don't know. I think that I'm gonna have to, for this shelf, still put my favorites, but I think I'm gonna have to do something with height and genre, because I just have a really hard time with this. So we're gonna wreck it again and redo it. Okay, I have an update because I'm wrecking myself over here. So I finally figured out some of what I'm going to do. So I've got my favorites up here, but I'm going to reorganize that. This is going to be my cozy shelf. These were on my tree, that tree, and now they're going to be here. And I had them organized different, like they were in alphabetical order, but like I couldn't deal with some of them being taller. So I put the taller ones on the end. This is going to be like some classics in the middle. I'm going to shift this around. Anyways, I grabbed all, like this stack, and this stack are all middle grade books that I have not read. And I really need to read my middle grade shelves this year. So that's going to go on the bottom. And then I'll figure out how I'm going to do all the rest of this stuff. So that's progress. Doing a really bad job of keeping y'all updated because like my whole day has been this now, but I'm working on my tree. Okay. And I was like, I'm going to put all my romance books on this tree. Well, I got almost all of them on there, and I was trying to sort them by like, these are my Christian fiction or my Christian romance. These are my like Christmas romance. These are my fall romance, etc., all going up to the top. But I just thought about it. I was like, what if I rainbow my tree? I think I'm going to try to rainbow my tree. Look how cute this is. I will not do rainbow with all my shelves, but this I can do. This I can get behind. Okay, oops, I'm finally finished, and I'm gonna show you how I organize everything and do a little bit of a tour. But I think first I want to show my Unhaul books. So I have those right here. So I decided to unhaul Shadow School Archimancy by J.A. White. I read this one. I gave it 4 stars. It's the first in a spooky middle grade series. It's like dark academia with paranormal and just like spooky middle grade. I did really like it. I just know I'm not going to continue on in the series, and I don't think it's like an all-time favorite. I did rate it a 4, but I think realistically for me now it's probably more like a 3. So I'm going to unhaul that. I'm also going to unhaul Wondersmith, The Calling of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. I recently read Nevermore for the first time ever, and I do feel like I've kind of passed that just excitement for a series like that. I did really like it. I think I gave it 4 stars, but I don't anticipate continuing on in the series, and should I ever have kids someday that want to read the series, I can always repurchase it, so I'm just going to keep book 1 for now. Next up, I have Eva Evergreen, Semi-Magical Witch by Julie Abe. I feel like I have unhauled and rehauled this book a lot before, but I don't think I'm ever realistically going to get around to this one. It is like supposed to be really good for fans of like Kiki's Delivery Service, if you like things like that, but I just don't think I'm going to get around to it, so it's going to go in the unhaul pile. Then I have a few graphic novels. The first one is Garlic and the Witch by Bree Paulson. I do still have Garlic and the Vampire book 1, but I didn't love the second one as much. I don't think I'm going to collect the graphic novel series. I'm just going to keep the first one, so I'm going to unhaul that. I'm also going to unhaul The Secret Garden this is adapted by Mariah Marsden, and illustrated by Hannah Luchtfeld. So I love The Secret Garden. It is my favorite classic, which honestly Charlotte's Web is too. I really forget about that one sometimes, but I love them both. But I did not like this adaptation and the way that it changed the story. I understand why it did, but I just feel like I am an origin girl through and through, or an original girl through and through. I also don't love this art style. I am not a fan of like I don't like it. I just don't, personally, it's not pretty to me. So I'm just gonna unhaul that. This is kind of a tougher one, Unfamiliar by Haley Newsome. I do think this has a lot of merit, but I read the second book, already unhauled it, and didn't like the direction that the series was going. But I do think, so this was based on a webcomic, and it is about this witch named Planchette, and it does have some witchy vibes. It does have some stuff like playing into the story that I don't want to really read about anymore. But it's cute, and I love the illustrations and the artwork and stuff, and I know a lot of people really love this one, but I just don't feel the need to have it anymore. I'm also going to unhaul The Temporary Roomie by Sarah Adams. This is the second book in the Nashville series. I don't know what it's called. Meet Me in Nashville, maybe? Either way, I can't remember what it's called, but I loved the first one, The Off Limits Rule. It is my favorite romance of all time. However, the second one was a complete dud compared to the first one. I'm going to probably put this in a little free library. I did start to tab at the beginning and highlight some different things, but I didn't throughout. So I don't want to try to sell this, and maybe somebody will enjoy just seeing things that I highlighted at the beginning. I don't know. They can take my tabs out, but I'm just going to probably put it in a little free library. And then lastly, I just randomly decided to unhaul this, The Guest House by Robin Morgan Bentley. I had been really interested in this one. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, but I think it's going to go into like a mom element that I don't really want to read about, because I don't know if I'm going to be a mom in the future or not, but if I am, I don't think I want this in my head. But it's basically about this couple who goes to this remote country guest house, and it's supposed to be like a retreat for them, and then they are there with this older couple. I think they're supposed to be like the caretakers, but anyways, they wake up the first morning, the house is deserted, all the doors are locked, their cell phones and their car keys have disappeared, and they have a few weeks left before their baby's due date, and now the woman starts to have contractions. So I just don't know. And it's wintry, so I kind of wanted to read it this time of year, but I just don't know. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and unhaul it. So that is a pretty good unhaul stack, if I do say so myself. But we're just gonna like ruffle some feathers a little bit. My feathers would be the ones being ruffled. And before I show you my bookshelves, which I know that's what you're waiting on, but you're just gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Since I'm unhauling these books, I thought it would be fun to show you like the giant stacks of books. I'm not really going to show you, but like I have a lot of boxes of books in my house that I've unhauled. They're still in my house, but they are unhauled books. And I thought it would be fun to pick out 2 or 3 and have you all vote in the comments on which unhaul book I need to rehaul. Because again, we're wrecking the vlog. So as much as I want to unhaul all the books, I'm going to let you guys pick one that I keep. So it can't be any of these because I made my decision. But we're going to go back and look at my other books. When I tell y'all I have books that I've unhauled, like, it's a lot. This room is a pretty huge mess, so just disregard that. It's a junk room. It also gets my laundry when my laundry needs to be folded, and there's just like a lot of stuff in here, so please ignore that. But I'm gonna share a few of these books. Some of you might have seen them in my unhaul. Let me see if I can prop you here. That'll work. Ignore the mess. But let's see if I can just share a few of my recent unhauls that maybe I haven't shared yet. The Door to Door Bookstore by Karsten Henn. These are not the ones you're gonna vote on, by the way. Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. Wolfwalkers by Sam Satin, adapted by Sam Satin. Verity by Colleen Hoover. Always in December by Emily Stone. The Cavendish Home for Boys and Girls by Claire Legrand. Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. The Plentiful Darkness by Heather Kastner. The Kindred Spirits Supper Club by Amy E. Reichart. So those are some of the books I've unhauled recently. I'm going to pick out, oh, also, The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley. She got on my nerves. I DNF'd it. I thought I'd come back to it, but I don't know. Okay. I'm going to go through these boxes and pick out 3 books, if I can, and have you all vote on which one you think I should keep. Now, please keep in mind, like, I want this to be a book that I'm going to like. Keep in mind what my reading taste is right now. I'm really in my cozy era, my fantasy era, my romantasy era particularly. I want clean books. I don't want a lot of smut. I don't want a lot of cursing. Anything that just doesn't feel God-honoring. So keep that in mind. I don't know about some of these, so let me know, okay? I'm going to find 3 and then I'll be right back. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that I also don't want to read a lot of like super witchy things or things with like Ouija boards or pentagrams or even like light, I don't know, maybe some light witchy, but not really. Okay, keep that in mind too. Okay, I'm just trying to let y'all know so when I come back and I share these books, you like are very well versed in what I want to read. All right, I'm back and you have 4 choices. Another thing I forgot to mention is with romance. I think I said I like clean, right? Yeah. So I understand that some of these may not be clean. I can handle one scene as long as it's not too raunchy or descriptive or whatever. Like, I need it to be tasteful, okay? So I'll say that. But I have 4 books for you to choose between. 2 of them are romance, one of them is historical, and one of them is a popcorn thriller. First up, we have The Kindred Spirits Supper Club by Amy E. Reichart. I originally hauled this because it reminded me of The Dead Romantics, which I have mixed feelings about now, but I loved it when I read it. It says this is warm, cozy, and full of hometown charm, which I love that. And there is a brilliantly quirky cast of ghosts. I'm okay with reading that. I have some paranormal books on my shelves. As long as we're lighthearted, I'll be fine. It's got a lot of romance, food, fun, and a touch of the supernatural. So it says, jobless and forced home to Wisconsin, journalist Sabrina Monroe can tolerate reunions with frenemies and kisses from old boyfriends, but not the literal ghosts that greet her in the heartwarming tale of the power of love and connection from acclaimed author Amy E. Reichart. Let me know if you've read this, if you think I'd like it, if this is your pick. So that's number 1. Book number 2 is another romance. I've had this one for a really long time, which is why I unhauled it. I don't hear a lot about Sophie Cousins, but I feel like her book synopses sound pretty good to me. This one says, their lives began together, but their worlds couldn't be more different. After years of misconnections, they're about to meet again. So Minnie Cooper was born on the same day as Quinn Hamilton, and she feels like she's been unlucky since the day she was born because she didn't win like the cash prize for being the first baby born in London in 1990. She also didn't get the name that she was meant to have. Quinn got it, all this stuff. So it's kind of one of those situations. It is a moving, joyful love story. It explores the way fate leads us to the people we least expect. no matter what the odds. I like a good cutesy little love story like, what did I just recently watch? While You Were Sleeping. That was cute, like the little faded stuff. So I'm okay with the fate things. Keep in mind with these two, I don't know the smut level or the spice level on these, so let me know. Yeah, let me know what you think, because I either need them to be clean, or there not to be a lot of scenes, or maybe there just to be one scene and it not to be like really descriptive of all kinds of stuff that I don't want to know that people are doing. Okay, next up I have The Daughter's Tale by Armando Lucas Correa, and I actually was really glad that I didn't unhaul this because I thought that I had completely unhauled it. I recently read The Letter Tree by Rachel Fordham, which is more of a romance, but it is historical and it has letters, and I really want to give another historical fiction a try with letters. This one says it's breathtakingly threaded together from start to finish. It has it is as heart-wrenching as it is luminous, proving that familial bonds cannot be shattered by brutality or weakened by distance and time, and that it is in our darkest moments that we find our true strength. So you have dual timeline. You have Berlin 1939 and New York 2015, and a box of letters, a family separated by war, and a mother's impossible choice. So very interested in this one. And then also I have The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I know a lot of people are probably really interested in me reading this one, or maybe not, I don't know. A lot of people have read this, a lot of people have talked about it, so I just felt like I was good. I don't read a lot of thrillers, but I have really enjoyed some. I know this is a popcorn thriller, so it's gonna be like a lot, but I don't know, I feel like maybe that's what I need, and maybe I'll like it. I don't know. I don't know the amount of language in this, though. That's another thing with these. I don't know. I just don't know what to expect, so y'all let me know. But I feel like everybody knows what this is. Welcome to the family, Nina Winchester says, as I shake her elegant manicured hand. I smile politely, gazing around the marble hallway. Working here is my last chance to start fresh. I can pretend to be whoever I like, but I'll soon learn that the Winchesters' secrets are far more dangerous than my own. So, these are your choices. Let me know in the comments which one I should rehaul from my unhaul, and I will try to read it. I can vlog it if you want me to. Let me know that too, I guess. But The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, The Daughter's Tale by Armando Lucas Correa, This Time Next Year by Sophie Cousins, or The Kindred Spirit Supper Club by Amy E. Reichert. Let me know. I'm going to quickly go through my shelves, and then I'm going to settle in to read, and I might continue this vlog for tomorrow because we're off work and I'm really excited. So I'll see if I can come up with some more stuff for tomorrow, but it's probably going to be more like reading. So I don't know, maybe I should wait and show you guys my shelves tomorrow. Should I do that? You're probably like, no, show me now, but like in your time, you're not really having to wait. So I think we're going to do that. Maybe I'll just show my shelves tomorrow because the lighting will be a little bit better. And yeah, so I'm gonna work on reading now. Let me tell you guys what I'm reading. Okay, I'm currently in the middle of 3 books. The first one is Redeeming Productivity by Reagan Rose, Getting More Done for the Glory of God. This is a Christian nonfiction that I was so kindly sent from Moody Publishers. And what I do is I review a book with them, and then after I review the book, I can request another. And then after I review that book, I can request another. And I just love their program. So this is my second book from them. I don't love this one as much as I loved the first that I got from them. And it is to no fault of the publisher. I just think that I don't really love self-help productivity books. They're just not my jam. So while I think this is probably the better of, like, because it has a Christian perspective, I just don't love being told to do specific things because I don't think specific things work for everybody. So it's just really hard. But I still think there's some good things in it. I have like marked some quotes that I'm going to put in my review, but overall, like, just not my favorite thing. So I have a little bit left of that. I also have a little over 100 pages left of The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. If you've heard me lately talking about this book, I had hauled it years and years and years ago. It was one of the first books that I got when I started BookTube because I was getting a lot of fantasy books because that is what the booktubers were reading back then that I watched. And so I hauled The Cruel Prince, and over time I unhauled it because I was like, I don't really like fantasy. Well, I recently repurchased it because I found out that I liked fae and I like romantasy, and I know that there is a romance between characters in this book, but it is very slow burn, and I'm pretty sure it takes all 3 books for them to even get together. And I mean, most people know who it is, so I'm like tempted to just say, because I feel like at this point everybody knows who the romance is between in these books, just kind of like how people know with ACOTAR. But I don't know. I don't really have any thoughts on the romance yet because obviously it hasn't begun to really build it all. And this is very fairy folklore. So I wouldn't say if you like ACOTAR, you might like the series, because what I liked about ACOTAR was like the high fae, and yes, there's like some magical world elements and all that stuff in the book, and there's like, I don't know, there's like stuff, but this is just more fairy folklore, like in depth than I think I like, and there's a lot of words on a page. There are very long chapters, and I don't know, like there's parts of it that I appreciate, and I do, like, I'm enjoying the story, but I'm not loving the story. So I think at the end of the day, if I wasn't buddy reading this with two friends, I probably would have DNF'd it, but I also think there's going to be like a sense of, you know, accomplishment when I finish this book, because I just was curious, and I may continue in the series in the future. I don't know. It's just not going to be a top priority. So it's probably going to end up falling on a 3-star for me, because I do think it's good. I am enjoying my read of it. I just don't think, like, for a 4-star, and I'm trying to be true to like how I feel with books and how I rate them. A 4-star for me is going to be like above average. It was amazing. And 5-star, I want to try to save for my perfect reads if I can. So I'm trying to be realistic. I think this is a 3 for me, but I haven't finished yet. And then I'm reading Dust by Kara Swanson. This is a fantasy fairy tale. It's a Peter Pan retelling. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's a Peter Pan retelling with some Christian elements. It is tagged as Christian fiction. This is the first book in a duology, the second book being Shadow. And I'm reading this for Revive Christian Book Club, which is the Christian book club I host. If you're not familiar with it, there's more information linked down in the description. But I'm about 80 pages into this one, and I'm really enjoying it. It starts out kind of solemn, but I know there's going to be a lot of hope woven into the story throughout, and it follows 2 characters. One of them is Peter Pan, and he is trapped in London right now, and then you have another character named Claire, and she has this disorder or disease or whatever that she has gold dust that flakes off her body, and I think sometimes it burns or sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. She just has not been treated well throughout her life because of this issue that she has. But Peter is set out to find her because he feels like she is his only hope. So I'm really excited about this. I don't love fairy tale retellings, but I loved Peter Pan growing up, and I love the messages that this book is going to have. I've read so many quotes from it already that I feel like it's just going to gut me in the best way. So those are the books that I'm currently reading. I am going to be doing reading sprints with some friends tonight. And be reading Dust, but I need to read a little bit more of The Cruel Prince too. But for now, I think I'm going to go grab some leftover taco soup for dinner and enjoy some time with my husband, and I will check in with you guys later. It would be a proper reading vlog or a proper wreck this reading vlog if I didn't tell you that I haven't really like given an update. I've read, but it wouldn't be proper wreck this vlog if I, was doing everything that I said I was going to do, right? I did read quite a bit more of Dust, and I'm absolutely loving this book. So if you have not read Dust or don't have this on your radar, you need to get to it, especially if you are a Peter Pan fan and if you like Peter Pan retellings. But even if you don't, I think there's a chance that you might like this. It is a little bit darker, and it's going to take you through those shadows to get to the light on the other side. I just think it's so good. I am really excited to discuss this with the Revive at the end of the month. I have not read any more of The Cruel Prince, but I still plan to read a chunk of it today. Wouldn't it be nice if I could get through both of these today and by the end of this vlog? We shall see. I probably won't because, you know, that's just a great way to wreck it by not finishing. But I did show you guys a clip of my shelves, but I think instead of going through and detailing things, I might just wait and do like a mini bookshelf tour. Not showing every single book, but just doing some highlights and going through my shelves and telling how I organize that. And I think I'm going to do that in a later video. And then I'm going to do one more wreck this kind of like activity, I guess. So what we're going to do is I am going to go on my Amazon wish list and I'm going to like count how many high priority books I have on my wish list, and I'm going to let a random number generator pick the next book that I buy, because I would like to choose my own, but it's kind of like it weighs it a little bit because it is a book that I am highly anticipating, that I highly want. High priority, but I'm letting a random number generator pick that. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, we're just going to do this the old-fashioned way where I'm just showing you my computer screen. So this is my book wish list, and these are my high priority books. So I have Nothing Else But Miracles, which is a historical fiction middle grade book that I'm very highly anticipating because it's by Kate Albus, who wrote A Place to Hang the Moon, and I loved that one. I also have Where the Road Bends by Rachel Fordham because I loved The Letter Tree, the first book that I read this year, and probably my favorite I've read so far this year. So I definitely have her high up on my radar. Dead in Gondola is on my radar because of Jordan. Newsprints, I just moved up because I'm really interested in that graphic novel. Blade of Ash, Scepter, and Crown Book 1 by C.F.E. Black is supposed to be, I think it's a Christian, or at least clean, but I think it's a Christian fantasy series that I'm interested in. Another Rachel Fordham book, another C.F.E. Black book. This one is a fae Christian fantasy. Mortal Queens by Victoria McCombs. I first saw this mentioned by April, and I really feel like this would be a good one for me too. Then I have Crimes and Covers, which is the 5th book in the magical, is it the 5th? No, yeah, it's the 5th. In the Magical Bookshop Mystery Series by Amanda Flower, which I love. Death by Dumpling, that's inspired by Gabby. Up to No Gouda, that's inspired by Hannah. These are all cozy mysteries. Cheddar Off Dead is inspired by Lauren. Death on Tap is inspired by Caitlin. And then I have The Wings of Poppy Pendleton by Melanie Dobson, which is, I think it's like a historical fantasy Narnia situation, and it's Christian. Heidi Lucy Loses Her Mind. This is the next book in the Juniper Bean series, or the Happily Ever After Homicide series. Friendship by Savannah Scott. This is a clean romance. If You Will Ask, Reflections on the Power of Prayer by Oswald Chambers. This is a highly anticipated prayer study for me. The Promise is His Presence, Why God is Always Enough by Glenna Marshall. And then Everyday Faithfulness. I think I'm most anticipating this one of the two, so I should probably switch those priority, but either way. Loved her book, Memorizing Scripture. Then I have Upon Waking, a 60 Daily Reflections to Discover Ourselves and the God We Were Made For by Jackie Hill Perry. That is a devotional. Then I have Just a Friend by Deb Goodman and Memory Lane by Becky Wade. Those are both clean and or Christian rom-coms. So that is the end of my high priority list. So there are 22 books here, and we are going to random number generate now. So I have 22 books. We're going to generate a number, and that is the book that I'm going to buy. Number 2, which is good because the higher up, the better. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's the next Rachel Fordham. I'm okay with that. I'm teetotally okay with that. I was hoping for a low number because, like, well, I don't know. The priority really is a little bit mixed match, but add to cart. Add to cart. I'm totally happy with that. I really want to read more of her books. So, I also already have another book in my cart. I have the next Dust book. So Dust actually has a sequel. I don't know that there's a picture on the back of this book or not. There's not, but Dust has a sequel, and it's called Shadow. And I already know that once I finish this, I'm going to want that one on my shelves. So I'm going to get those 2 books, and that is going to be my little haul. So I think now I'm just going to go ahead and read some more, hopefully finish this one up and at least be able to tell you guys some thoughts on this one. I don't want to go into too much detail because obviously I'm going to talk about it at the end of the month, but I just feel like I'm still going to tell y'all it's a good one. And then maybe I'll finish up the Cruel Prince and give you updates on that. But I think that's all of the updates I'm going to have on this vlog. So I will wrap it up when I get some more reading done, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Okay, I finished The Cruel Prince, and this is so hard. So I did, like, you know, as I mentioned, I think I mentioned this before, I had this book before, unhauled it because I didn't think I liked fantasy, rehauled it because I like romantasy, and while I think this will have a little bit of romantasy in it at some point, it's gonna take too long. And I love a slow burn, and I'm okay with, like, if there's pining and stuff, but the deal with this is that I think that I don't like fantasy as much as I like romantasy, like, which is such a hard thing to say because I may be wrong in that. I don't know, like in the ACOTAR series, which I'm talking about it knowing that, and please keep in mind that I don't prefer smut and it is a very smutty series, but that series really did impact me positively in a like more fantasy positive way. And even though there were parts of that series that had war and politics and fantasy elements, there was something about the way it was written and the romance in it that just kept me entangled in the story. This did not really keep me entangled. I felt with this much like I felt with the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I read that years ago when I first started my channel, and I was not impressed. I think originally I gave the first book 3 stars, and then the second book I gave 2 stars, and the third book I DNF'd. However, since then, I would say it's more like a 2-1 DNF as far as my ratings go. That was a series where I would have little moments that I would just like get a little excited, but then very quickly, a paragraph later, it would just die down. And that's very much how I felt with The Cruel Prince. I do like the main character, but she's not my favorite main character of all time. I did grow to love The Cruel Prince to an extent. Taryn, could not stand her the whole way through. Vivi, I like her fine. Oak is precious. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was fine, and I don't think it was bad. I get why people would like this. I just don't think this is a Keisha book. I don't think that, I don't know, like, I don't know if I really love fairy folklore. I like high fae, and I like some elements of that. Like, obviously, I enjoyed the ACOTAR series. I've enjoyed, like, the These Hollow Vows duology, which I think is actually going to get a 3rd book. And, you know, I've liked some, but I just don't think, I just kept feeling like this was too long. And it's not that long. Like, I've read 800 pages, you know, in a book in, like, ACOTAR or whatever. But I just feel like the chapters were very long. There were a whole lot of words that I just really didn't care about. I wanted to get to the point. There were little moments here and there that I enjoyed, but then it would, again, quickly just go to something I didn't care as much about. I did enjoy the twist ending that I didn't see coming. I always love being misled. And again, there were little parts that I enjoyed. I did not hate the story, but I think that at the end of the day, I'm probably going to have to give this a 2.5. I will not officially rate this on Goodreads just yet. Maybe by the time this video comes out, I'll have it rated. But I was going to give it a 3 because I think it's good. But I think overall my enjoyment is more along the lines of a 2 or a 2.5. So that's probably where I'm going to land with this book. So I probably will not continue on in the series at this point. If I gave it a 3, that would have been giving me a chance more to like be willing to continue on. But I just don't think that this is going to be the series for me. So unfortunately, not the best. But I did enjoy buddy reading this with Yvette and Elizabeth, even though like Yvette had already read it and then Elizabeth flew through it. And I'm very behind on catching up. But yeah, I think it's good. I think it's fine. But it's just not a 3 or above for me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish Dust, and I only, let's see, I'm on page 217, and okay, so I have about like 130 pages left maybe. So I don't know if I'll finish it tonight or not. But for my update, I'm probably just going to update you all tomorrow. So I'll come back, update you, close out the vlog, all that fun stuff. But I'm happy to be jumping back into this one because this is a really good one. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. I've finished dust and I'm not going to give a lot of, feedback on that because I want to wait until our live show. But I did really enjoy it. Not giving a star rating right now, but I really enjoyed it and I am very excited for book 2. So I hope you all enjoyed this Wreck This Reading vlog. I don't know if I wrecked it quite enough, but hopefully you just enjoyed the vlog. And if you want to see another Wreck This Reading vlog, like a part 2, let me know down in the comments. If you have any ideas for like how I can wreck this reading vlog, let me know down in the comments. But I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed everything. Like I said, I will share my bookshelves in a bookshelf tour either later this month or next month. At some point I will share just to go in a little bit more detail about what I did with my shelves and a few of the books that I have on my shelves. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I have been enjoying my snow week here at home. Been getting lots read and lots done. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have nothing else to say or just want to like leave a comment, like emoji or whatever, go ahead and leave like a bomb. Oh my goodness, my voice. Excuse me. A bomb or an explosion emoji or something like that to symbolize wrecking this vlog. I hope y'all enjoyed. I love you all so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, friends.